to Deadlands Dime Novels, The Adventures of Young and Holt, Issue 45, Run for the Rails. I'm your narrator, Ernest Wick, intrepid reporter for the Tombstone Epitaph. In this issue, Young and Holt and John Barnes, as well as a number of other passengers, find themselves about to run from a whole town full of Beelzebugs and Ashmen. It's time to catch a train, and this is one ride none of them want to miss. Well, no time to waste, so we'd best run along with this posse and see where they're at. You come out and down the steps, and you look down the street of the town, and what you see... Well, first of all, you kind of see and hear this at the same time. There is this large, growing symphony-style noise that's kind of building in this crescendo, and it's a conglomeration of all of these buzzes and whoosh noises, and you see all of these individual points of light, orange light, come popping up in and around other buildings around town. 1 dozen, 2 dozen, begins to grow and grow, and you even start to see some of the ashen shapes as this light is beginning to kind of cast some good light in the town. You see some of them begin to move in that little bit of a jerky motion that the other campfire guys had been when you were fighting them. And it looks like they're starting to come your way. While you see this, you hear noises off to your side, like rapid footsteps, and you turn and you see many of the people who you had met on the train. You see Monty, the older guy with the scarred face. He is running there along with Sister Crane, the aging nun, and Jerry Jewell. And the three of them are there. They've got lanterns, and they show up almost as this is happening, and they see you, and then they look at you, and then they look at what's coming at them, and then they look back at you, and Jerry just says, What the hell's that?
Let's not find out and go.
Yeah, we should be running.
On a side note, he's also looking to see if there's a water tower nearby.
I second that. I was thinking there might be one at the depot that we just came from, because they got to refill the steam engine.
Because this is a nightmare with an entire hive of firebugs swarming up to come get us.
It is a nightmare. Well, good use of the card play. Because of that, I will give you the water tower at the train station. I think that's a great idea. Okay, so Sister Crane, Porter says, I think we shouldn't wait to find out. Let's just go. And you hear Sister Crane muttering something to the effect of, well, that's just a little slice of hell right there.
Nice.
And we are in a dramatic task time.
Oh, no!
Well, since this is a dramatic task, I'm going to add another card out there with that nightmare.
Ooh, excellent. Let's do it.
The card is titled Sickness, and one of the little quotes underneath it is, you've got the right medicine.
Ooh, okay.
So since the water tower was added, we've got the right medicine.
Excellent. All right. When we get to round 4, remind me of that, and I will make sure that we make use of that card, because that was when that will come into play. So here's how this dramatic task is going to work. It's going to take 5 rounds total, and each round we have essentially 9 tokens, and you'll find out what those mean at the end of each round. So each round there's 9 tokens that need to be removed from play, basically. Okay? And so everyone in the group, Young and Holt, John, and all the other NPCs, each get to roll one skill that's appropriate either to some sort of combat-based activity or some sort of activity that involves fleeing. So it could be athletics, it could even be something like stealth, whatever it is that allows you to either fight what's coming after you or hide and or escape from what's coming after you. For each success, you get to remove a token, and a raise allows you to remove an additional token. And the degree of which there's tokens left indicates how close and or bad things get for the group of you as you are trying to flee. When we get to round 4, you're going to get a little bonus for your efforts. And at the end of each round, we're going to draw a card which could present either a complication or a benefit. Make sense?
Sounds good.
Lead us through.
Okay, so you all start running, you all turn and you immediately take off down the street, and we have this, I don't know what it is, there's 6 of you, this little sextet of lanterns that are just fleeing from this oncoming mass of light and upsetting sound and strange ashen creatures, which also now seem to come in from the sides in an attempt to close off your access to the street that you're fleeing on. And so let's just go down the line. Porter.
Why are towns always trying to kill us?
It's your story, Porter.
Porter, what skill are you going to use?
Well, Porter, thanks to his childhood lessons, knows how to lose himself when being chased by a bunch of angry people trying to get a hold of him. So he's going to essentially drop his lantern or hand it to Joshua and just sort of disappear into the buildings to try and while he's making his way towards the water tower.
Nice. All right. So because you played that card and that was a great explanation, I'll give you a +2 to your roll.
I'm going to need it because now that my spell casting got lowered, I have nothing higher than a d6. Good thing I got the 2.
Yeah, no kidding.
I got a 5.
All right, 5. So that is a success, and so that'll drop 1 token off here. So yeah, you begin to dart and dash through various things, and you're essentially dodging and hiding from a lot of these ash campfire citizens who are trying to cut you off, and you stealth your way around there. Joshua, you are next.
All right. Well, he's thinking these things are basically bugs. Bugs like light. They're always attracted to the campfire. And we're running with lanterns. Since we kind of know the direction we need to go, he is going to pitch the lantern that Porter just handed him off towards one of the buildings in hopes that it starts a small fire. But he also knows that we lit several lanterns at the general store. So he's going to take some shots while running, trying to hit the lanterns and cause a distraction with the fire that might be attracting the insects.
Excellent. All right, make that shooting. Holy cow.
Even though he's wounded, he's running the best he can. And, he's elderly, so he's not as fast as he used to be, right? But he manages to pick his target, hit a couple of those lanterns, and that oil just spills and ignites.
Wow. All right, so that's so 4 with success, 8, 12, 16. That is 4 successes so you pull away 4 of those tokens. Very nice. We're now down to 4 tokens in this round, so very good. Barnes is just straight up, this is terrifying him. He was able to keep himself fairly composed during this process, but he is now starting to panic, seeing this sea of bugs, glowing human-sized bugs coming at him, so he's just going to straight up and try and shoot one of them because he wants them dead. And he is successful in his efforts. He gets a success and a raise, so he drops it down to 2 tokens. So right now, you guys are doing good. Monty, what is he going to do? He looks around and you don't really see what he does, but it seems that you guys definitely have things well under control, so he just kind of goes and does his own activity, especially as this general store kind of explodes in a ball of flame to distract so many people. Sister Crane, she decides to whip out the power of the Lord and wants to go toe-to-toe with one of these things, she gets a success. So Sister Crane, one dives right in front of her as they kind of scatter from the explosion and the bursting in flames of the store, and she engages in combat with one of them, and with her crane takes out the thing quite easily, which brings us down to 1 token, which leaves us with Jerry.
Let's go, Jerry. Talked a lot earlier.
We believe in you, Jerry. I didn't talk to you, but I believe in you.
Jerry, much like Barnes, is kind of freaked out by all this, so he's just going to try and shoot. And he is successful with the raise, and so he takes down a couple of these things. You've eliminated all the tokens for this round, so nobody suffers some damage. However, we are going to draw a card. See if there's a complication. And nothing else additional happens, so we're good that round. All right. So here we go, round 2. Back up to 9. And Joshua, why don't you go first this round?
All right. Joshua's racking his brain, trying to think about anything he can that might help him out in this situation. And now is when his knowledge occult kicks in just a little bit. So that's going to be a success. With knowledge occult, he's thinking something to do with the way the creatures sense movement, perhaps to warn everybody else that's running in the group, a way to stay away from them. What he's figured out about the way they move because of their burned eyes and ears. Perhaps if we're a little more quiet, keeping it calm, we can make it by them.
I'll give you that. That's pretty good use, and that was a success. And so you kind of shout out a few instructions as to what might help as you continue to flee towards the train station and the train. But you have taken away a token. So Porter, you're next.
Porter, now that he's separated himself from the group very stealthily, is going to make a spellcasting check and just teleport himself further away.
Perfect. Are you going to deal?
No, not.
Aww.
No. He's just making a spellcasting check.
All right.
So that's much better.
There we go.
So Porter gets a 9 and spends 2 power points. And so what happened is he'd gotten kind of stuck in a dead end, and he kind of looks through the windows of a couple buildings and just suddenly steps into the side of the building and steps out on the other side of those buildings.
The campfire men that were closing in on you now stand around confused. When you get a raise, does it allow you to travel further, or can you just only go a certain distance? Okay, so it does actually affect your distance traveled. All right, so that will then drop it down by 2 more tokens. Nice. Mr. Barnes, he's going to do what he does best, and he's just going to continue to shoot. And he does quite well. Sister Crane is a little bit preoccupied with one and starting to fall back, and Barnes steals his spine and goes running over to her and sort of hip checks one out of the way, takes his gun, and basically fans the hammer, knocking out a few of these here. And wow, he drops it down quite a bit.
Nice,
yeah. He takes out a few, and they commence running. All right, Monty is going to use some of his magical ability. Ooh, that was a 1 on his spellcasting die. Okay, so he's shaken, so he is out for next round. He did not achieve a success, so he did not help reduce anything. So he basically tries to help. It does backfire, and he is rendered useless as these things close in on him. Sister Crane, she's also going to attempt to continue to fight these things because that is what she likes to do. Actually, no, she's going to make a faith roll. And she fails as well. Sister Crane is still a bit shaken up by the one that she was fighting, and after being freed by Barnes, she attempts to refocus her faith efforts to help Barnes out and return the favor, but her pleas for assistance go unanswered, and she is unable to generate a success, which now just puts us with Jerry at the end.
Does that cause a crisis of faith?
It might for her, but it's not. Well, she failed. Oh, no, she didn't get a 1. Oh, no, she did get a 1. So she will be out next round as well, just like Monty will.
Lovely.
So that leaves us with Jerry, who's going to shoot, because that's what he likes to do. But Jerry does get a success and continues to gun them down as you're running back. But that does leave us in the end with 1 token left over, and what that means is we have 1 wound to distribute amongst all the members here, of which there is 6 of us. There's 2 of you, and then 4 NPCs. So we will go right down the line. Porter will be 1, Joshua's 2, and then they'll all go down the line for me. Joshua, you take a wound. You're now -2.
He does all that work and keep holding them at bay, and
and so you finish shouting your instructions. And as you're going, the darkness played a little trick on your eyes, and you didn't hear the campfire guy sneak up right behind you, and he essentially clipped you right in the chest and knocked you flat on your back.
I can see that as I'm yelling to everybody else to be quiet, not make noise, because that's how they detect you. I'm the target, and boom, I get hit.
And let's see, do we get a complication or benefit at the end of this round? No, another spade. All right. We are now in round 3. Back up to 9. And let's see. Josh went first last time, so Porter, you can go ahead and go first this time.
so we're getting closer to that water tank, right?
You are correct.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is start preparing to take down the water tank. So I'm going to use spell casting again. I'm just going to make a check in this case, but I'm going to start calling the power to me because I'm going to do a really heavy hit spell next turn. So I'm trying to buff myself for next turn, essentially, by gathering up the power.
Gotcha.
Let's see if this works. Woo! Let's spend a...
Mr. I have 4 bennies.
I've just rolled so well, I've had a chance to spend them. I spent them at every possible occasion.
Yeah, all mine's soaking damage so far.
Yeah. So if I spent a blue Benny...
You can re-roll. You can do both, but I don't get to draw.
Okay, and the red's the same, but you get to draw. So can I re-roll and roll an extra dice, or do I have to just roll an extra dice?
One or the other. So it's either re-roll or add the d6.
Let's...
And you're 2 points away from a success. So the only way you'd fail would be a 1.
All right, I'm going to spend the red.
You're going to spend a red, Chip?
Yep. And I'm going to just add another d6 to it. Can I spend a Benny on a Benny?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to spend a white Benny to re-roll that 1.
Well, you get to re-roll. I think if you spend the way it works, if you were to spend the white Benny, you would get to re-roll the lot of that. So
all 3 of them?
Yes.
So I'll roll the first 2 and then roll the second one.
Yes, because the second one still adds. Is one of those your spellcasting die?
Unfortunately, okay, so it'd be the first one. So yes, I did roll a 1 on the spellcasting die on the reroll.
On the reroll. Okay, so you can still take the better of it all.
So the first one I rolled a 2 on both.
Yep.
And then I added a d6 and got a 1 on that.
Right.
And then on the second one, when you spent the white Benny to re-roll, I got a 1 on the spellcasting and a 5 on the wild.
Right. So, but of course the problem then is, while that's still technically a better roll, because you got the 1 on your spellcasting die, you'd have to face backlash. So the better of the rolls
of the
for
two
you
is
still your first one. Which
and
is,
of course I rolled a 1 again
right,
on the second.
Which is just a failure. So it's not like nothing bad is going to happen to you. You just weren't able to get yourself buffed up and create a success to take down the tokens.
But you know what I'm doing? Is I'm re-rolling again with another red Benny.
To add an additional d6 to that, which is already a 3, so you essentially can't fail?
That is correct.
And our Marshal is now sitting on 7 bennies?
I do like it.
So I just rolled a 6.
I like it. I like it. I like
and
it.
A 6 and then a 2. So
Totally worth it.
Porter rolls a 2, a 1, and a 20 altogether.
Wow. So your total roll then is what, 23?
23.
So 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So you essentially took down 5 tokens with that. All right. That is good.
Boy, I have cards between all my fingers ready to throw for next round.
That's pretty dang good. Yeah, Porter was first round, so no, Josh was up.
Oh, is there anything that we need to remove after that, or did he clear all the tokens?
No. There's almost. He was first, so we have 4 tokens left.
Well, we only have, 2 people acting, because 2 people are injured.
Right, the only people who are acting are Barnes and Jerry.
I'm going to make a persuasion check to basically try to rally the troops, so to speak. Not that I know this, but failing faith, spellcasting failure, all this sort of stuff. They're looking confused, they're looking dazed, they're looking terrified. So I am basically going to make a persuasion check to encourage them. Like, guys, we're almost there. We're almost there. It's in sight. Come on, we can do this. We got this.
So you know they're terrified, and you're telling them that you're by their side?
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow, with 2 wounds. That's impressive.
That is. So 9 is the -2 with the -2?
Yep.
Nice. That is a success with a raise, so that will drop you down to only 2 tokens. So you give your rallying shouts, because you see both Sister Crane and Monty are down and things are kind of closing in on them. Something else is happening with Barnes and Jewel, which I'll get to here in a moment. And you tell them whatever it is you need to tell them, and they look at you, and you see both of their collective eyes kind of light up, and they begin to rally and start making their way. All right, and as long as we're busy playing plot twist cards, I am going to play one as well. And I mentioned that something was happening between Barnes and Jerry. You look back and you see, even though Jerry was busy, he was shooting things and taking care of stuff. One of the creatures came down and grappled with Jerry and ripped part of his clothing off, his jacket and the shirt that he had underneath. And then you hear him let out a scream that is decidedly feminine, without question. And so you're drawn to there, and you look, and you see that Jerry is actually female. You can see that it looks like where the clothes were ripped. It's not like you can see any side boob or anything, but you can see that she has, for some reason, bound herself down to flatten her chest out, and clearly is in a disguise of sorts. And then you hear John yell from across the way. He says, "You! Opal! You're my bounty! Stand still, you son of a bitch!" And you see him direct his gun towards that direction. So Jerry's secret has been uncovered. You heard him address her as Opal, and so because of that card, those other 2 have been taken out from activity this round because they're dealing with their own issues, which means none of the NPCs are able to act. So we are at the end of the round, which means I have 2 tokens or 2 wounds to give out. So let's see who gets those. First wound goes to Jerry in this sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Second wound goes to Porter.
Ugh,
Burning up from the inside, maybe.
I'm struggling with my own power there.
Porter, take a wound.
I forgot, because of my earlier interaction, I skipped a step, or I missed something as I was gathering up the strength, and it caused me to stumble, and I'm like, ah!
Then you get a voice in the back of your head saying, "You're really going to need all that power? I can help you out. You want some more power?" So Jerry/Opal takes a wound, Porter takes a wound, and complication at the end of this round. Do we have one? We do, but this is not a complication. This is a benefit. You guys are going to like this one. So Here's what happens. Joshua, you give your rally speech, and you see them get up. You hear the exchange between Jerry/Opal and Barnes, and once again, you turn, and one of the Beelzebugs has come down right in front of you, or is dive bombing towards you. You're struggling to bring your gun up in time, but it's coming too fast, and then from out of nowhere, you hear a rifle crack, and the creature is caught straight in the head. It is knocked down, and it just kind of crumples to the ground. And you hear a shout from the distance, a very recognizable voice. "Don't worry, I got you, sugar. Just keep running."
Oh, good old Victoria.
Hey, it's the fangirl!
Let me make a shooting roll for her. All right, and she is able to take a token off for next round. So you start at 8, and we are now on round 4. So everybody except for Barnes and Opal are out this round, but Crane and Monty are back. And we are at round 4. Anything that you do this round, because you played the right medicine card, you're going to get an automatic +2 to whatever efforts you have in an attempt to get rid of these 8 tokens. So Porter went first last one, so now Joshua, you are first.
Well, since they're closing in, we need to buy us some time. So I'm just going to open up as much as I can, fan in the hammer, and keep on them at bay so that we can get further away.
Alrighty, make those rolls.
Add that +2 in.
Add that +2.
Just one success.
Just one success, but it is enough. So you just unload and lead just fills the sky, and you are taking them down left and right. All right, Porter.
Porter, seeing his goal right ahead of him, gets a second wind,
Nice.
which clears his wounds, and gathers himself to fire the biggest bolt attack that he's got in him towards that water tower.
Excellent.
So Porter's spending 6 power points, puts him at 1 power point, and he's firing 3 soul blasts at 3d6 apiece. The way I'm figuring it's going to be, each d6 is a card towards it. And let me make a spellcasting roll here, which is a d6. Well, that's not great, so I'm going to spend a blue chip
Nice.
and add a d6 to it.
Excellent. And that does include the +2 for the spellcasting?
That did not, so it's already at a 6.
It's already at a 6. Okay. And now you're spending the blue chip to add additional d6?
Absolutely.
All right, go for it. Don't get a 1.
Oh my god. Every time! Except for that one roll, every time I've added a chip to add a dice, it's been a 1.
Yes.
Well, we need this, so I'm going to burn my last penny to give you an additional d6,
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
So we're at...
but it's a red.
Oh, all right. I'll be happy to take that.
Of course you will. There's a 3. So it's a 10 total.
All right. 10, so it's definitely a success with a raise. So you, in spectacular fashion, just unleash this green array of bolts, which neatly slice all of the support beams of this water tower just in all the right spots, and it begins to come and crash down. Water just explodes everywhere into a shower. And I will actually give you an additional thing, because normally that would just take down 2, but I will give you an additional 1, so that will actually take down 3 tokens to bring you down to only 4 remaining. But there is this huge crash of water, and you see a number of those things kind of get consumed in the deluge that follows. So now we are at Monty. Monty has recovered from everything thanks to Joshua's rousing speech, so he is going to attempt again to do what he wanted to do the first time. Ooh, there we go. And that is a success with a raise. So that brings down to 2. So Monty gets back up, and Porter, you kind of catch this out of the corner of your eye. You see Monty take a deck of cards, and he spins in a circle, and then he throws the cards out as he's spinning in a circle. So the cards begin to circle around him, and then he points in a direction, and this maelstrom of cards goes in an area where there was like a concentration of these Beelzebugs, and the resulting windstorm essentially grabs them and throws them into the splash of water created by your tumbling water tower. Sister Crane. She is also going to try what she wanted to do last round. Oh, jeez. So there's a lot of light that is happening right now in this particular round. So we have all this orange and red and yellow coming, and then we see this shower of green, and then there's a little bit of white and blue mixed in from the water that comes down, and it's lit, reflected off this other stuff, and then you hear this guttural scream that only an older woman can do. And this bright white beam of light just comes down from the sky as a bolt, and you see Sister Crane just kind of become filled with what you could only describe as holy energy of some sort, and then she just turns that towards this marching column of campfire men as they're coming at, and she just literally kind of decimates them from the inside out, and they explode, and she eliminates all of the remaining tokens for this round, and so you guys are free this round. We are now on round 5, the very last round. Oh, complication. Hold on. Complication for round 4? No, have not gotten a club. All right. So now we are on round 5. We're back up to 9. Here we go. Joshua, running through the train station and running down the tracks towards where the train is.
Joshua's hurting. He's aching. He hasn't run this much in so long, and his body is just not used to it. He hasn't had a good night's sleep yet, and with all the other activity and being beaten on and burned, he's just trying to keep it together. So he's going to make a spirit roll.
Okay.
To just power through and push through.
There you go. That is a success. All right, you give your internal pep talk and realize that salvation's not too far away. And you eliminate one of those tokens. All right, Porter.
So, has the train pulled up, or is it still not in sight around the end?
Interesting that you should say that. So I'm going to do this a little bit out of turn. The train appears to have, because the train started behind the town, but now as you look, you realize that the train actually has started to move forward and is on its way heading out and away from the town. And so, because I'm going to play the cliffhanger card, the train is actually moving and heading away from where you're at. So we're going to add another round to the dramatic task and give one more round for this.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. We've got to jump another train?
But yes, so the train is certainly within catching distance, but it is moving away from you as it has just started up. But it is now your action.
All right, I'm going to use my knowledge of trains.
Yeah, I was going to say, give us tips on hopping the train.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to see where the train's going and how fast it's moving, and I'm going to just point and holler, "You need to get on over there!" and direct everyone over to where they need to be.
Gotcha.
And let's see how it goes. It is not my best choice, but I gave it an attempt.
You gave it an attempt, and so you shout and you yell, and there's so much other noise.
I'm so far separated from them, and
yes, and the water tower is still creaking and breaking, and people just don't seem to be paying attention to you. However, everyone else is back for this round.
Time for them to carry this group for a round.
That's right.
Well, Sister Crane did an awesome job.
Yeah, but if she'd done it this round, it would have worked out better.
So, Barnes, you hear a shout come over the din. It sounds like Barnes' voice, and you hear him say something to the effect of, "We'll settle this later, girl." And he charges forward, and looks like he's picked up an improvised weapon of some sort, and he is charging forward into combat with some of these things to clear a path towards the train now that he's seen where you guys have indicated. And he successfully beats his way through a little bit there, knocks you down another token, so you're down to 7. Monty, Oh, wild die comes through. All right. And actually, Monty is going to... I'm going to spend one of my NPC wildcard chips. And he's going to add a d6 to that.
Yeah!
And brings him up, so he drops it down by 2. You hear Monty's voice come up from the den, and he is, as you're running, because the terrain is beginning to get a little unstable, he starts to point out areas. He's like, watch out for that dip there! There's a small rise this way! Look out for that shrub! And so kind of helping to guide you guys through. Sister Crane. Okay, so 7 is still all right. So I will spend a d6 to add a red chip to add a d6 to her 7. And she gets a 4, so she gets a raise. And so she knocks it down 2 more. So we're down to 3 tokens. She comes up behind you, Joshua, and she basically comes up underneath your shoulder. And
ow, ow, ow.
Yep, I know. Hang on, old timer. And she just starts like pushing / running with you to get you out of range as these things are closing in on you. And she gives you a little bit of a boost. All right, Opal / Jerry. She's a bit scared, so she's going to try and stealth away, much in the manner that Porter did earlier. And she gets a success. And that will drop it down to 2. All right, so we have 2 wounds to distribute at the end of this round. So you guys are running off the train station through the brushes and brambles. These things are closing in on you. Sister Crane suffers a wound in the process. As she's carrying you, Joshua, something clips her from the side, and she kind of stumbles down out of there. She suffers a wound, and then the other person to suffer a wound is John Barnes. So as he's plowing through, beating these things away with a stick that he grabbed, one of them clips him in the back, and he is hurt. And so now, time for bonus round, thanks to the cliffhanger card. But first, complication at the end of round 5? No. So now we're at round 6, so I believe Joshua's first this time.
All right, so I fanned the hammer with 1 gun, but we got to jump the train this round. So, gosh, part of me wants to use shooting, but that's not going to work. So, yeah, maybe I'll do some cover fire while I'm trying to get on the train.
Oh, that's been pretty good cover fire.
All right.
That'll get you down 2 tokens.
Now I'm empty.
All right, that brings us down to 7. Porter.
Because of his experience, he's already hopped the train, but the door is locked because they didn't expect anyone to hop the train. So he's going to lockpick the door to make it so everyone can get in right there.
Nice.
He gets a 4.
He gets a success. That'll work. All right, that drops you down to 6. Mr. Barnes. He, much like Joshua, is going to lay down some cover fire. All right. So let's see. 7 minus 1 is 6. 5 minus 1 is 4. So he did get a success. That'll bring it down to 5. He basically blows a few out of the path of those getting ready to jump on the train at the last moment. Monty's turn. Monty is going to attempt one last time another little windstorm with his cards. There we go, Monty. So 10. That's success with a raise. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. So not bad. So Monty, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 16. Damn, dude. Monty takes another deck of cards out of his pocket, throws them out in front, and again, they whip into a maelstrom and grab a large swath of the Beelzebugs and just kind of push them away from the train. And he brings us all the way down to just 1 token. Sister Crane. She stands up, and one of these things is standing right in front of her, and she is going to attempt to intimidate it. She did fail, and I am out of NPC.
Can't reason with a bug.
Can't reason with a bug. So she tries to intimidate it. She fails, and so she has to just kind of bum rush her way through there, which leaves us with Jerry, or Opal, who's going to attempt to stealth up and jump on that train there. And does get 1 success. So Jerry kind of pops up from the brushes, makes a last-ditch charge, grabs onto the train, It's probably the last one to get on there as it begins to chug away from the town of Sunrise Flats. So as Opal gets on the train, rushes inside that back car, the caboose car, you all are looking out the window as you see this mass of bugs continue to come at you, but the train picks up speed and pulls further and further and further away, and eventually the glows get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as you ride off into the dark, headed west towards Denver.
Well, that was a mite bit exciting. And now that Young and Holt are on the train, it's time to get them to their destination. But is it a trip they're ready for? Joshua's on a collision course with the two-faced woman, and Porter is looking for Jasmine once again. Ready or not, we begin this final journey in our next issue, Date in Denver. The part of Porter Holt is played by Brad Smith. Joshua Young is played by Brent Rich, and your intrepid marshal is played by Chris Hussey. This game references the Savage Worlds game system, available from Pinnacle Entertainment Group at peginc.com. It is unofficial media content permitted under the Media Network Content Agreement. This content is not managed, approved, or endorsed by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Certain portions of the materials used are the intellectual property of Pinnacle, and all rights are reserved. Savage Worlds and all related settings and unique characters, locations, logos, and trademarks are copyrights of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Thanks also to Fear the Boot. Support their Patreon at patreon.com/feartheboot. Your intrepid marshal apologizes profusely for not following the dramatic task rules to the letter. And to all you wannabe gunslingers and cowpokes out there, don't forget to back the brand new Deadlands Kickstarter from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. You can find it by simply searching for Deadlands on Kickstarter.com. Intro music by Beelzebub Jones. Exit music by Gunslinger Andy. Contact information for the cast as well as music links can be found in the notes on our website, youngandholt.com. If you enjoy these issues, please consider dispensing a lovely 5-star review on wherever you do listen from. Please search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. It's kindly appreciated. I'm Ernest Wick for the Tombstone Epitaph. And remember, when someone keeps setting themselves on fire, it might just be best to let them burn.